everyone, I am Teacher Vangie, and for this video, you're going to find out about digestion process. It is part of the lesson about digestive system. But before I proceed, I would like to ask you this question. Is it true that you are what you eat? I hope you can answer this after we have discussed the digestion process. And for our learning objectives, we have described the process of digestion, trace the path of digestion of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats and oil. Before anything else, of course, I would like to find out if you still remember your lesson about the parts of digestive system. So let's start to identify the organs of digestive system. Let's start. How do you call this part? Yes, very good. It's mouth. Next one, we have esophagus. The other one, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus, pancreas, liver. Now let's move on to the function of each organ of digestive system. I hope you can still remember. At this point, we have two columns here. You need to match column 1 with column 2 by drawing an arrow towards the function of a particular organ. Let's start. With regards to number 1, mouth is for biting, grinding, chewing, mastication, and swallowing of food. Next, stomach, part where chemical digestion of protein starts. Small intestine, final digestion, and absorption of nutrients. How about large intestine? Yes, absorption of water and vitamins. Then we have rectum, which is the temporary storage of feces. All right, let's move on to our main task for today. What do you mean by digestion? Digestion is the process of changing solid food into soluble form. It could also be described as breaking down food into simplest form to be absorbed by the cells. When it comes to digestion, we have two types. Number 1, mechanical digestion. It is a type of digestion which physically breaks down food into smaller pieces. And the other one is chemical digestion, wherein food molecules are converted to soluble form with the help of enzymes. Enzymes are protein substances which speed up chemical reaction. Now let's move on to the process of digestion. The process of digestion, it starts when food is taken into the mouth. It is called ingestion. In this part, as you chew, you are breaking the solid food into smaller pieces. That is what you call as mechanical digestion. These small pieces of food will mix with saliva before swallowing with the help of the tongue. Saliva, which is a watery fluid secreted by salivary glands, softens and wets the food in the mouth and starts the chemical digestion of starch. The enzyme salivary amylase present in the saliva breaks down starch into maltose. Maltose is a double sugar. However, not all starch will become maltose here in the mouth. The food will move down to the stomach by passing through the esophagus. The muscle of the esophagus moves down the food through peristalsis movement. In the stomach, the food will stay for about 2 to 3 hours, and chemical digestion of protein starts. Enzyme pepsin in gastric juices change protein into smaller polypeptides. The partially digested food is called chyme. Together with gastric juices, it moves down the small intestine. In the small intestine, final digestion of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats happens. In the digestion of fats, bile, which is produced by the liver and stored in the gallbladder, mechanically breaks down fats into fat droplets. Then, these fat droplets will be converted into fatty acids and glycerol with the help of enzyme lipase. The starches, which were not digested in the mouth, are acted upon by enzyme amylase. Enzyme amylase at this point is secreted by the pancreas, converting starch into maltose. Then, enzyme maltase converts maltose into 2 glucose molecules. Lactose, which is a double sugar from milk, are acted upon by enzyme lactase to convert it to glucose and galactose molecules. Sucrose are converted to glucose and fructose by enzyme sucrase. The proteins which were not digested in the stomach will continue its digestion in the small intestine. It will be converted to polypeptides by enzyme trypsin. The polypeptides are acted upon by enzyme peptidases and dipeptidases to convert it to amino acids. After the final digestion of food, absorption will take place. The undigested food, other vitamins and water will move to the large intestine. In the large intestines, reabsorption of water, sodium, potassium, and vitamin K, forming and propelling of feces toward rectum take place, and the undigested food and those that were not absorbed will be eliminated as feces through rectum, then anus. This is called digestion. To further your knowledge about digestion process, I have here a video which will give you another insight about digestion process. Please watch this.
Across the whole planet, humans eat on average between 1 and 2.7 kilograms of food a day. That's over 365 kilograms a year per person, and more than 28,800 kilograms over the course of a lifetime. And every last scrap makes its way through the digestive system. Comprised of 10 organs, covering 9 meters, and containing over 20 specialized cell types, this is one of the most diverse and complicated systems in the human body. Its parts continuously work in unison to fulfill a singular task, transforming the raw materials of your food into the nutrients and energy that keep you alive. Spanning the entire length of your torso, the digestive system has four main components. First, there's the gastrointestinal tract, a twisting channel that transports your food and has an internal surface area of between 30 and 40 square meters, enough to cover half a badminton court. Second, there's the pancreas, gallbladder, and liver, a trio of organs that break down food using an array of special juices. Third, the body's enzymes, hormones, nerves, and blood all work together to break down food, modulate the digestive process, and deliver its final products. Finally, there's the mesentery, a large stretch of tissue that supports and positions all your digestive organs in the abdomen, enabling them to do their jobs. The digestive process begins before food even hits your tongue. Anticipating a tasty morsel, glands in your mouth start to pump out saliva. We produce about 1.5 liters of this liquid each day. Once inside your mouth, chewing combines with the sloshing saliva to turn food into a moist lump called the bolus. Enzymes present in the saliva break down any starch. Then your food finds itself at the rim of a 25 centimeter long tube called the esophagus, down which it must plunge to reach the stomach. Nerves in the surrounding esophageal tissue sense the bolus's presence and trigger peristalsis, a series of defined muscular contractions. That propels the food into the stomach, where it's left at the mercy of the muscular stomach walls, which pound the bolus, breaking it into chunks. Hormones secreted by cells in the lining trigger the release of acids and enzyme-rich juices from the stomach wall that start to dissolve the food and break down its proteins. These hormones also alert the pancreas, liver, and gallbladder to produce digestive juices and transfer bile, a yellowish-green liquid that digests fat, in preparation for the next stage. After 3 hours inside the stomach, the once shapely bolus is now a frothy liquid called chyme, and it's ready to move into the small intestine. The liver sends bile to the gallbladder, which secretes it into the first portion of the small intestine, called the duodenum. Here, it dissolves the fats floating in the slurry of chyme so they can be easily digested by the pancreatic and intestinal juices that have leached onto the scene. These enzyme-rich juices break the fat molecules down into fatty acids and glycerol for easier absorption into the body. The enzymes also carry out the final deconstruction of proteins into amino acids and carbohydrates into glucose. This happens in the small intestine's lower regions, the jejunum and ileum, which are coated in millions of tiny projections called villi. These create a huge surface area to maximize molecule absorption and transference into the bloodstream. The blood takes them on the final leg of their journey to feed the body's organs and tissues. But it's not over quite yet. Leftover fiber, water, and dead cells sloughed off during digestion make it into the large intestine, also known as the colon. The body drains out most of the remaining fluid through the intestinal wall. What's left is a soft mass called stool. The colon squeezes this byproduct into a pouch called the rectum, where nerves sense it expanding and tell the body when it's time to expel the waste. The byproducts of digestion exit through the anus, and the food's long journey, typically lasting between 30 and 40 hours, is finally complete. TED-Ed is a nonprofit. If you value our work, please consider supporting it on patreon.com/TEDEd.
Did you learn something from the video? I hope so. Remember, the longer the feces stays in the large intestine, more water will be absorbed, resulting to harder stools. Don't forget that. Now, let's proceed with the summary of the chemical digestion of different food groups. Of course, from the mouth, the food must be taken in, and starch is converted to maltose by salivary amylase. Then the food will pass through the esophagus the stomach where protein is converted to polypeptides by pepsin. Then in the small intestine, where final digestion of food and absorption of nutrients and minerals happens, starch are converted to maltose by amylase. Maltose is converted to 2-glucose molecule by maltase. Lactose is converted to glucose and galactose by lactase. Sucrose is converted to glucose and fructose by sucrase. Protein is converted to polypeptides by trypsin. And polypeptide is converted to amino acid by peptidases. And fat droplets is converted to fatty acids and glycerol by lipase. And then, large intestine, absorption of vitamins and minerals. Then the food happens. Then the feces will move to the rectum. Then to the anus. Then outside of the body. Let's try this. You need to read the following statement and tell if it is true or false. So all you need to do is to get your paper and pen, then write your answer on your paper, if it is true or false. Let's start. Are you ready? Number 1, the digestion of starch starts in the mouth with the help of enzyme salivary amylase. What is your answer? Yes, it is true. Next, the mechanical digestion of fats happens in the small intestine with the help of bile secreted or produced by the pancreas. Is it true or false? Yes, it is false because, as I have said, bile is secreted or produced by the liver. It's not the pancreas. Next, when we take in starchy food into the mouth and chew it properly, our tongue will detect a sweet taste. This is due to the fact that some of the starch has been converted to maltose. Is it true or false? Yes, it is true. Next, the final digestion of food happens in the small intestine because it is the last part of digestive tract. Is it true or false? It is false. Why? Because it is not the last part of digestive tract. Next, for number 5, elimination of solid waste or feces happens through rectum, then anus. Is it true or false? Yes, it is true. Who among you got it 5? If you get 5, then that's an excellent job. Congratulations. If you get 4 out of 5, then it is a good job. 3 out of 5, wonderful. 2 over 5, need to read more. 1 over 5, read more and try again. And if you didn't get any correct, start all over again. Okay, it's time to ponder. At the beginning of our lesson, I ask you this question. Is it true that you are what you eat? Yes, it is true that we are what we eat, because all the things that we take into our body will be part of our body and will be used by our body so that it will function normally. So the more nutrients that you take into your body, the more healthy your body will be. At this point, I would like to thank you for listening from this video, and I hope you will look forward to another video which will help you to learn more about digestive system. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.